Hello and welcome back to the Demis Hellen channel. We're back with another arpeggio video where I build an arpeggio on screen that you can follow along and use in your own productions. And if you're a Patreon supporter, you can just download the MIDI and the preset in today's video from the support page. And that's any tier on Patreon. To kickstart the episode, we're going to look at the presets. This is what you can see on screen. You can copy that if you want. This is actually from a pack that's unreleased at the moment, but it'll be going live next week. If you want to gain exclusive access to discounts on packs, you can either become a Patreon or you can join the mailing list on my website. So the link is always in the description for the website, and that means that you'll get access to early releases, discounts and things like that that won't be available to anybody else outside of sales, for example, like Black Friday. You'll get extra little deals here and there. So that's the preset lead number 3, and that sounds like this. So bearing in mind, I do have some Arts acoustic reverb on there and a bit of compression, but it's not really taken away from the preset, if you know what I mean. That's still what it sounds like. The MIDI is from my upcoming MIDI pack as well. So again, subscribe to the mailer or become a patron to get early access to these when they release with exclusive discounts. And there's going to be a total of 80 MIDI stems in there for creating any style of trance. Okay, so let's jump in. I'm just going to make a copy of this to easily switch over here. I'm going to show you today's progression that we're going to be using. So it's going to be something a little bit different, and you'll see why in a second. So we're using an F chord. So this is all in A minor. So that's F, A and C. And then we're using D, G and B, and then D, F and A. So we've got an F, E and a D. So with that, we can see we've got a major and a minor chord there. And technically, if we was to just expand these, that's how they would appear, if you know what I mean, over 4 bars. I've just drawn it over 2, but you get the picture. That is the structure. So for those that don't know how to identify major and minor chords, I'll just give you a quick crash course here. If you've got 3 notes between the first 2 notes, it's a major chord. If you've got 2 notes between the first 2 notes in the chord, it's a minor chord. And you can also hear the difference. I'm just going to transpose this up 1 octave. One sounds a bit happier and chirpier, and one's a little bit sadder. So those second 2 chords sound sadder because they are minor chords, and that is why trance sounds like it does. Okay, so what we're using here is a 6-5-4 structure on the A minor scale. And what I mean by that is we've got notes from A, B, let's just have these in the correct place, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. That is our scale. And if we build a chord on A, that will be a 1 chord. If we built it on B, that would be a 2 chord. So you can see here, F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a 6 chord. That is a 5 chord, and that is a 4 chord because we're just descending through the scale from F. So that's just a quick crash course there. So what we're going to do here now is build a little structure. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to play this first so you can hear it audibly, is we're going to work on a pattern that works on either side of the middle note. So the middle note is essentially going to become our bass. And all I'm going to do is play the notes at the top and then the note at the bottom around the A. So I'm going to switch between the C and the F and then so forth through each one. So So really that simple, and it sounds really effective, and you might recognize it from some of your favorite tracks that you might listen to. So let's build this arpeggio. So the first thing we're going to do is just build a pattern. So I'm going to have this one, and I'm going to bring this note backwards. So we're sort of creating that pattern. And then we're just going to fill in the rest with bass notes. So that's going to be an A. Like so. So all easy stuff, nothing too drastic, like so. And all I'm going to do, just to make it a bit more syncopated, is just drag those in a little bit so the bass is a little bit more choppy. We missed one out there. Beautiful. And I'm going to copy that across 4 bars, so just have to be careful there because those bass notes are not exactly a 16th long. And we've got our pattern. So you can see A and C, so we got A in the bass and C, and then we switch to the F on the second half. So let's do this over 8 bars today, like this. Beautiful. Just going to extend this out so we've got 8 bars, or at least 8 bars, like so. And then the second chord is going to drop down to G, and then obviously you can see B in the top, and then the second half of B is on E. And then on this one, we've got A in the top, D in the bottom, and we've got an F in the bass. And I'm just going to repeat that over here. Voila, you have your trance melody complete. I'm going to show you a few tweaks that we can do to this to make it a little bit more interesting, but you can see that we're just operating around these 3 notes and just utilizing either side of that note for our melody. Now, if we're using these in the bass, technically you would be working with an A, G, and F chord, not an F, E, and D chord. But if you take a look at this first chord, using this current chord display up here, you can see it's an F chord. So now if we transpose the F up 1 octave, you can see at the top now it says F/A, which means it's an F chord, but over A. So the A is the root position, and we call those inversions. So this is the first inversion of the D chord. So if I move this up, and the second inversion of the D chord is that one. So it's the same chord, it's just the notes are in a different priority, a different order, as you would. So that's how we've come to that. So how can we make that melody a little bit more interesting? Well, we can change up how we position these notes. They could actually go up, so they don't have to go down just because that's the shape of the chord there, C to F, B to E. We could actually transpose some of them up like this. So it works like that, and it will give you a bit of a different feel. So that could go higher. So you can see how the melody can evolve, and you could just make those simple octave changes to make the second passing of the melody just sound a little bit different but following the same path. But this one sounds like it needs to go up at the end because it goes a bit too low down, so I'm going to transpose that up 1 octave. But what I'm going to do is actually change up the notation now so we can get a bit experimental. We've got the A minor Aeolian scale attached, so anything that is orange we know is not in scale, but we can move this around and get a feel for it. But naturally, my brain wants to hear that either go up or down. So let's just have a listen to that again when it gets to the A. Even a possibility of holding that across. And then I might double up on the root of this particular section, which is the F. And then I'm just going to progress up through the scale there. And that works quite nice. Let's just try that. So it works great, but I think that should be an octave higher, and this one, it just feels like the whole melody should be a little bit higher now. And you can see that creates a very nice loop background into the start. So I'm actually going to create a copy of this over here. I'm just going to shift a bit of MIDI, just make sure there's no MIDI elsewhere, because this is an active project. And let's create a variation just so you can see, and then you get access to 2 different MIDI files if you're a Patreon supporter, or just copy it off screen. So I love the fall, but maybe the second time round we can do this. So you can hear what I'm doing here. I'm preempting the next chord here, and you can hear that it just naturally wants to sit there. And that definitely wants to go back up. Let's just try that. I'm just guessing here. That could tie round nicely. So what I'm going to do now, because we transposed it up a little bit, I'm going to bring them closer together by transposing this top line down 1 octave. And there's no reason why we can't have a second octave. And then you could just sit a nice little counter melody on the top that just sort of like flows in and out, and that works beautiful. So there you are. That is 2 unique MIDI files that you can use there. You can just copy them on screen as you've seen them, but if you just want to download them and use them straight away, you can get them on Patreon, like I keep saying. So there we are. There's going to be some new products launching soon. The MIDI melodies here, you can see all 40 melodies are accompanied from a chord structure and then an example MIDI on each one. So that's going to be a great pack for you. And also the Spire Transbank that's going to be coming out, and then there is a learning synthesis course coming out as well for Vital users, so you can get to grips with understanding synthesis as a beginner. So thank you very much for watching. I will look forward to seeing you all in the next episode.